David Patton. We met in 1990.
Wow.
Right. And I knew instantly he was the man for me.
Yeah.
The problem was he was white. And I had an issue with dating white men, okay?
And I have to personally apologize to my sister because I loved my sister, but because I wanted a brother so bad, I used to try to toughen Esther up.
Mm-hmm.
I would make Esther ride bikes with me. We would jump people in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? We'd be doing stuff, and when she didn't do what I wanted her to do, you know, I remember being at home, and, you know, I had my guitar. Esther be trying to take a nap or study, and I just got my amp. I'm running around just all loud.
Are you ready?
Are you ready? We're back.
Ready.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm digging them kicks, man.
You like these? Thank you,
I like those little hearts on it.
Yeah, a little.
That's cute, like the emoji hearts.
Yeah, a little garçon. You know.
I love it.
Shout out to garçon.
Shout out.
Let's open up with prayer.
Yes.
God, we thank you. We are so excited to be here to share. I'm so excited to be here with my sister and my brother and all of my brothers and sisters. God, we ask you to just endow us with your presence. Come into this space with us. Be with us in this time. Let us share only what you give us to share. Let us speak what you give us to speak. Let someone's life be changed and be touched by what is spoken here today. And let us rise and stay the course and be better than we ever have before, because we're better together. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Yeah, we're back.
And we are back.
Yeah, rise and stay the course.
Rise and stay the course.
Let's just jump right in.
Yes.
Today, we are talking about family, navigating family, you know, love for family. How do you navigate the times? You know, I know for me, I spent the past couple weeks, and I spent a lot of time with family, but in close corners. I know a couple weeks ago, you were with family, you know what I mean? You did sister's baby shower. I had a family reunion come up, and just the normal navigations of family. So let's just jump right in. Just talk about, number one, what does family mean to you? How important is family?
Okay, family is my number 3 value.
Okay.
Because I believe all of us need to establish our own values. That's another podcast.
Coming soon.
Because I believe, you know, first of all, my faith is my number 1 value.
Yeah.
Okay. Health and wellness and my overall fitness and wellness is my number 2. But number 3 is family.
Yeah.
Okay. So I come from a very large family. And I think all of us need to talk about your family, like, you know, where you sit in your family. And this is a question I often ask when I do consulting for companies. Where do you fall in the family lineup? Okay. Well, I come from a large family. I am number 6 of 7. Wow. I have 5 older sisters within a span of 10 years. Yeah. So we grew up, you know, just 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom for 6 girls. So I also come from my mom has 9 siblings. So we have a large family. Yeah. And family is, I believe, your first real, like, it was like I looked at my sisters because I didn't have a lot of other friends outside of my family. Yeah. They were like, I wanted them to be my sisters. Now, also, too, where I fall, I'm the next to the youngest. I'm number 6. I always thought I was the youngest. And there's so many studies on where people fall in their family, you know, and are you number 1? Are you number 2? Are you an only child? All those kinds of things. There's so much to say about that. Yeah. But family for me is everything. My mom is everything. Yeah. You heard me talk about that in my other podcast. Like, to me, she was God. You know, she was, I'm every woman. She's that. You know, it was all in her.
Yeah, mama's a diva as well.
Okay, my mama is a diva.
Absolutely
if y'all don't
wonderful.
Understand the term black don't crack, you need to look in the dictionary.
Do you see this picture of mama right now that we just had to put up? That's mama, and that's always. Okay. She's always ready. Absolutely.
Always ready.
Yeah.
But to me, I look at her and I was like, wow, I wanted to be so much like my mom. Wow. You know, because I always saw her going through trips and falls, and I just saw her as this consistent figure in my life. Yeah. But my immediate family is the most amazing husband that I have. I met him, David Patton. We met in 1990. Wow. Right. And I knew instantly he was the man for me. Yeah. The problem was he was white. And I had an issue with dating white men, okay?
Yeah.
People know me. They know I talk about this because I had a white father.
Absolutely.
And I did not at that time like my dad.
Yeah.
I hadn't forgiven my dad for all the things. And so I was shadow boxing David.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
There's a whole conversation about that. But then he and I got together, finally got married in 1997, and been with each other ever since.
That's amazing.
25 up to 26 years, depending on what time you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
And we have 2 amazing children.
Yeah.
CJ, who's 25. That old boy. He's
That's
old.
my boy. Yeah.
The only one
What up,
aging
C?
is
What up,
them,
boy?
not me. CJ. And then our daughter, Cece. Cece, who just graduated from Ohio State.
Yeah.
So family is great for me, but it also brings interesting dynamics. Right?
Yes.
So that's my family.
Yeah. No,
what about you?
So for me, one biological sister, Esther.
Esther.
Love her so much.
Wow, what a powerful name.
That's my girl. If she's watching, please, I love you. But we grew up and we were like best friends. I always wanted a brother growing up. But, and it's crazy because at times now Esther can be this hard exterior, but inside she is the most loving, beautiful person ever. And I have to personally apologize to my sister because I loved my sister, but because I wanted a brother so bad, I used to try to toughen Esther up. I would make Esther ride bikes with me. We would jump people in the neighborhood. We'd be doing stuff, and when she didn't do what I wanted her to do, I remember being at home, and I had my guitar. Esther be trying to take a nap or study, and I just got my amp. I'm running around just all loud. She'd be calling my dad, Dad, keep doing this. I have her go out in the garage and be like, hey, go out and grab me a pop or go out and grab some. She go out, I lock the door and leave her.
Thaddeus!
I know.
So bad.
So Esther, your brother, I love you. I'm sorry.
Listen.
I love you so much. Please forgive me.
Yes.
And to all the brothers out there, treat your sisters with
because CJ
love.
had some of that action with CC.
Yeah.
CC was he got paid back.
Yeah,
but,
you know what I mean, and you get it, but love that and love having that relationship. But again, the dynamics of family, they're unique. They're interesting.
Yeah.
Same with mom and dad. My dad, when you talk about having that figure, I always wanted to be like Lenny, my dad. He was man of great stature, well-spoken, well-dressed, swagger, just integrity. And since I was a kid, never really felt like I could live up to the expectation.
Yeah.
And a lot of those expectations it's not stuff that he vocalized. He just always told me to do my best. He's always talked, because my dad is the perfect negotiator, always even keel. I think I've seen my dad angry once, and it scares the living life out of me because he's always so even keel, knows how to diffuse any situation. But sometimes that proximity to my dad and not communicating, right?
Yeah.
Because you have that expectation of wanting to live up to who it is that you believe that they want you to be, and not communicating in that. And my father, his father, rest in peace to my grandfather, Andy, he wasn't in their lives, so he didn't have that direct father figure. But I think in growing and having transparent conversations and having the hard conversations, it's helped me to love my father all the more, and to understand that you never get everything right.
No.
You know what I mean? And I think when you look at there are things that your mom and even your dad, they done the best that they could with what they had at the time. And I believe that, through having transparent conversations and grace, extending it, right? Compassion, that it's the thing that makes having family, you don't take that for granted, because they get on your nerves.
Yeah. You just said so much. Sometimes I wish when I'm listening to you, I could take notes because there's so many good nuggets. But one of the nuggets I immediately took away was, because here's the thing, and I hope that when you're listening to this podcast, you too are kind of just going through that process of like talking about your family. And I think more families need to do what we're talking about right now. But, is that when you look at your parents and you look at the people who formed you, like formed your environment.
Of course.
And specifically, there's so much research that talks about how your mind is formed within the first 7 years.
Yes.
Oftentimes, a lot of those people that were in charge of forming your brain, they hadn't done the self-awareness work. They hadn't done all the rise and stay the course work, right?
Telling.
And so as a result, we are given some of the, not so great things, and it became a part of who we are. But the beautiful thing is there's two things. One, you can come to that awareness. You could say what you said. They did what they had to do. They didn't have these tools.
Correct.
And so you get to make a choice.
Yeah.
You get to say, I choose to continue to keep them under a certain level of duress and hold them responsible for the damage that they may have caused.
Absolutely.
Or you can choose to forgive.
Absolutely.
Right? And forgiveness and grace is unmerited, meaning like they don't have to do anything to have that. So
we don't do anything.
We don't do anything.
We're not worthy of it.
Right. And so I think, because you and I talk about this a lot, there's just certain things that I've come to accept with my mom.
Yeah.
I love my mom and I love who she is as an individual. But also, too, I don't hold her to a certain level of expectation, because I've chosen to believe that she is perfectly and wonderfully made.
Without a doubt.
It's not my job to tell her what to do,
Not at all.
to make certain that she has these certain things she does in order to receive my love.
Exactly.
Because if she doesn't act like this, then the same thing with my mom. I've also had to learn with my partner, my spouse.
Absolutely.
There's a whole conversation we can have about that.
Because that's family.
Oh, that's family. That's family. See, because the thing is I don't look at my husband that I used to.
Yeah.
When we first got married, let me just keep this clear, because I wasn't like this when I first got married. To all you newlyweds out here, okay? Because you want to tell them what to do.
Yep.
You want to make certain that they look a certain way. They got to act a certain way. They got to have their hair this way. I have never asked my husband for permission to cut my hair or do more. I wear the hair that I want to wear.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And we've been married for 25 years. Things don't look the same from 25 years ago, okay? And because we love each other, we're consistent.
Yes.
We have faith. We have all the tools that Rise and Stay the Course talks about.
Absolutely.
We can stay the course with each other. I can stay the course with my mom.
Yes.
Right? So I just want people to know that as you are sitting here often in judgment of your parents.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. I mean, because I think, and let's just keep this real. I think all of us want to hear our parents say, you do a good job.
Yeah.
You are just amazing who you are.
Yeah.
I love you. There's nothing you have to do that makes me love you more or less. I just love you for who you are, because we all want our parents and the people around us to treat us the way that God treats us.
So good.
Right?
So good.
Because I know we struggled with that.
Yeah, no, me, for sure. And, like I said, I started becoming a musician because I wanted to emulate my father. And I had such a high regard for him as a guitar player and a musician, to the point to where I started on drums. I was like, I don't want to play guitar. People was like, my dad is the best guitar player in the world. And I still, to this day, and I always will, I still feel that way.
Right.
But in that, there was a lot of things that even now that I've struggled with, where I'll create something and send it to my dad first. Whenever I create anything, there are two people that naturally, they get first dibs on it. It's my dad and it's D. You know what I mean? But I'll send it to my dad, and sometimes, not purposely or not that he don't love it, he just may not give me the response I'm looking for. Or I'll send him something and it's like he's listening to it and it's real, and I'm thinking like, Dad, I want you to be, you know what I mean? Like I'm looking for that. And I don't get that. Yeah. And I've had to learn that, number one, that's not a him problem, that's a me problem. If I let that cause me to become hard-hardened towards him, angry towards him. But there's a way to go about that. What is the way? Number one, even if I don't like the response that I'm getting, or I feel like I need more, communicate that.
Right.
Transparently. Hey, Dad, I wish you would do this. I would love it if you would do that, or this makes me feel that way. And I've learned that going about it that way versus making demands.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Or having this thought process of how things are supposed to go. Our relationship, it grows, right? Because we have no control over anything but ourselves, our decisions. And we are called to love in all things. We are called to spread and have compassion, especially for our family and our loved ones.
So can we talk about, like, let's get into some deep real talk.
Okay, let's go.
Because not everything is roses.
Not at all.
Often,
absolutely not.
You know, when you get in big families, you know, not everybody's going to like each other, right? And I want to share this because coming from such a large family with lots of sisters, we don't agree on a lot of things. And I just want to speak to the people who are really struggling out there, because some of us have chosen to have boundaries with family, especially family that's abusive. Which is needed. Forgiveness does not always mean reconciliation, because forgiveness is basically saying that I will not stop loving you, but I also need to know that, and I don't hold any grudges against you. I don't hold you hostage. You're not responsible for the way that I am right now. I just choose to forgive you. But that doesn't mean that I have to be in deep relationship with you. Okay. So I just want to clarify that, because a lot of people were like, well, I have an abusive dad. You know, what do I do? Like, if my father was alive, because he's passed, would I be in relationship with him? Because I've been asked that a lot. You know, would you be in relationship with my dad? Well, not if he was abusive to me. Correct. But if we'd come to a certain level of understanding, you need that. Right? So the other step that I want to share with people, because coming from such a large family, I've come to realize that not everybody's going to like me, even my sister. Right? So I keep boundaries with some. I've had conversations with them. I have felt, like you said with your father, I was living up underneath some of my sisters, and if they didn't accept me, I felt less than. And I come to realize, after having so much dialogue with them, I had one sister who told me, I can't live up to the expectations you want. I can't be what you want me to be. So I had to make a choice. Should I continue to put her in a position that I want these things and she's not giving it to me, or can I put the right boundaries around this relationship, which is what you did with your dad? Absolutely. Right? So I feel we all need to understand that family is not supposed to be completed every single aspect of you. No relationship can complete you like Besides that, God. Except for God. Absolutely. Right? Because again, and let's talk about, so I just want, are y'all feeling that? Because I really want to invite questions. And this is where I wish we could have people call in, because I would love to sit down and have more dialogue about that. But I really believe that that's critical to a deep understanding. Definitely. Right? One author that I want to mention that maybe folks might want to listen to. One, I've loved T.D. Jakes and some of his books that he talks about relationships. Okay. Shout out to Bishop. Shout Amazing. Out. Absolutely. But I love Henry Cloud as well. Okay. Henry Cloud is another, he's a therapist.
He's from the Mighty Clouds of Joy?
No, he's not from the Mighty Clouds of Joy. But I know the Mighty Clouds of Joy. You know you Baptist when you said Mighty Clouds of Joy. Did he just say
Mighty Clouds?
Y'all started to sing a song, didn't you?
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Okay. So anyways, that's good though, for real. But I want to share that. And I can't think of one of his books right now, but he really talks about that. So let's talk about family that's not blood. Right? Because as you continue to live your life, there are going to be people that you so I believe that family that was given to you at birth is family at birth, but then there's chosen family.
Without a doubt.
So we are chosen family. We're chosen family. Let's talk about that. Let's dive in.
And you know, when you talk, first thing that comes to mind, there are two. There's D, my brother, that blood couldn't make us no closer, and you. You know what I mean? Literally, I know without a shadow of a doubt, chosen family. And of course, we are all goes back to again, and we are unapologetic about our faith, but we are children of God. We are all of the same, we come from God, and we are all brothers and sisters walking this earth together. But there are chosen people that are placed into your life that are set to be your brothers, your sisters. They are spiritual fathers and mothers that He will place into your life that are there to do life with you. Yeah. And sometimes these individuals come in ways that these relationships are built upon hurt, trauma. It comes from just anything. And you have to really, again, you talk about staying the course, because our relationships, we are here today because of staying the course. Right. Me and D are 13 plus years into building what we have been building with Touchdown and everything that we do, because we have stayed the course. Right. But I'm going to just be honest. Sometimes, and I know there are more people like this that think about, okay, how this ain't my blood brother, my blood sister, We get into it, we have a disagreement, and so many people walk away, and walking away is good. Sometimes you have to walk away from things, but there are some people that are put in your life for a reason, and you have to go and separate for a while, but you're supposed to come back. Yeah. So my question is to you, how do I do that with people that ain't my blood? You didn't grow up in my house. You didn't, we ain't got the same blood running through our veins. Yeah.
Well, I think also too is that there's a respect. There's trust. Yeah. There's all these kinds of things that you are built over time, number one. And some people instantly, oh man, there's a connection. But how do you go through difficult times? Right? Because we did have to separate because we had some work to do on ourselves. Absolutely. And I've come to realize that in my relationship with my husband, which is the longest relationship I've ever had, that's been, like through thick and thin, right? Because tried and tested. Yeah. We have to separate. Yeah. I have to let my husband go. He goes and golfs. The thing, if you watch our relationship, is my husband will go away for 3 or 4 days. And I'm like, see you later. Because he needs to go away and work on himself. Do things he enjoys. Be around people he likes to be around, right? And then after 4 or 5 days, we'll come back together. Yeah. Right? Sometimes certain relationships, and this has been happening with people that have been married they may separate for a little bit and then they come back together. Why? Because we all have to understand is that everything comes back to oneness with yourself and God. Yeah. And when you can really forgive, and you can really have grace for people. You can look at people and go, you know what? We're all flawed human beings. We all have things that are going through. We all have certain filters in life. We can actually have more grace for people. Yeah. We can actually see things and go, okay, I know that has nothing to do with me. Yeah. Right? And it has something to do with the other person. Let me own what I need to own. And then we can find a way to come back together. Yeah. Yeah. But I believe oftentimes, and you said this when you first started, is that, communication is one thing that if you're not willing to listen and to hear and to take in other people, because you're so hot and you're so ready to punch and you're so ready to, there's no room for you to be able to do that. And when that happens, especially when that happens, you definitely need to separate.
Without a doubt.
Right? Because there's no, usually when people are at 100, there's no reasoning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that in any relationship, and I've learned this, and we're talking about relationships with family that are not of blood, but nothing works without God.
Nothing.
My bishop has been talking about this. He talked about and I think at the beginning of the July, it was a church anniversary, and he was saying that God told him, because we're trying to reconcile race, gender, age, creed, all of these things. And he said, God told him, your assignment is to get people to reconcile with me. True. Because when we 100%. Can reconcile with God, all this other stuff that we have differences of opinions and that's where it starts. And I think about in your relationships. I can't, when I'm trying to focus on trying to change you and get you to see things my way, get my dad to see things my way, versus, hey, God, I don't like that my dad makes me feel like this. I don't like that my sister makes me feel like this. I don't like that my wife makes me feel like this. I don't like, when you focus on that, and you allow God to get in that relationship, God to get in that family, when he's at the forefront of it, it all comes together.
It all comes together. And I really also have to let people know that there's things you aren't supposed to be in control of.
At all.
And you have to understand that it's a full-time job for me to keep my emotions, my feelings, my beliefs in check. I don't have time to manage anyone else. Even my children. Right? Because my children are adults now, and I just don't have time to manage Cece's life. Whereas I love her because I'm in that coaching stage. You know, there's the formulation stage. But even when I was, you know, when my Cece was 2 and CJ 3, I still had to rely upon God to help me to know how to pull away, how to let them work it out. All that kind of stuff, because, and just not, this is about parenting, but you know, we have to talk about this because this is family, right? Is that even as a parent, your job is to get downloads from God.
Absolutely.
To know how to shepherd this mind, this vessel of a body, to know that, first of all, that child really technically is not yours.
It's not yours.
I mean, you carried that baby. You as a parent, you carried the baby. They've come through you. They've been flesh of your flesh, or bone of your bone. But they are also God's, and so everything that you do has to come and filter through that lens, right? And so because I believe the world is hurting, but I really believe families are hurting.
Families are hurting,
and I believe that we've not reconciled ourselves.
That's where the attack starts. And you know, again, the Bible talks about how important God talked about family was, you know what I mean, to him, and it should be to us. And again, so many times, like many things, but there was a time, you think about back in the day, and this is way before my time, we did it very little because it was me, Esther, and my mom in the same house. My dad was around, but there was a time when families ate dinner together. When you look at families that eat and have dinner together, they pray together, you know, it's cliche, but everybody, family that prays together, stays together. That's real talk.
Yeah, that's real talk.
You know what I mean? It is huge.
And can we put the phones away? You know, because put the phones away when you're eating together. Because I will honestly say with my kids and our families, that was a hard thing, and it's getting even harder.
Get rid of the phone.
I was going to say, I hope that dropped on the floor. Is that OtterBox?
Sorry. It is OtterBox. You know, I didn't game back home.
But listen, it's a true story, and I really feel that we, as you were saying, because I think you were saying that T.D. Jakes said you got to, or no. You were saying Denzel Washington said you got to throw the phone. So you
put it so far away from your bed to the point where you got to get on your knees.
I love what you said about that. But I really feel you're right about that. That is that families need to pray together. And also too, because, you know, like I said, I'm not as close as I was with my sisters. But I love them.
No, for sure.
And I know that they are still my family.
Absolutely.
We don't have the closeness that we used to. But I love them.
You love them. You pray for them.
I forgive
you cover them. You forgive them.
There's nothing that I would not do if ultimately there needed to be something done. I would do, and they all know that.
Oh, that's good.
But I want people to know that I would love to hear from people if they're struggling.
Absolutely. And this is number one, honestly, now just thinking about it, because we didn't have a script plan. We don't have a script plan for anything. We have topics, but this was a topic that came to mind. We're probably going to have to do at least 3 parts of this.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Like this is part 1 of rising and staying the course about family. But you know, please share this, subscribe, send in your questions. I mean, we want to hear from you. We want to connect with you. And this is just the beginning, because there's so many things that we have to unpackage. And there's a healing that has happened even for me during this episode, during this conversation that we're talking about. And it just, you know, it just positions you to really, number one, go and think. Now I got to dive deeper in my prayer time, in my time of mindfulness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? About how I can show up better in my family, how I can share and spread more grace and love and patience.
And I would like to hear from people if they have prayer requests.
Absolutely.
Like if you feel like you want to share that, then please let us know.
Without a doubt. And it's nothing, you know what I mean? It's always confidence and in prayer, because know and understand that the entire conception of this podcast, it came from prayer and us seeking God, and this is a part of our purpose. And you know, we are a part of your community.
Yes.
There are people you're watching. You
Absolutely.
don't have family. Your parents die. You don't have friends. You know, we are your friends.
We'll
we
be
are
your
family.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we the rise and stay the course family.
This is part 1. We'll be back with more. Until then, we love y'all. Stay safe. Continue to rise and stay the course.
Stay the course.
Peace.
Peace.